Hello students, today I am going to discuss with you a few important questions from the story The Red Trap, class 12th. So students, let's start. Question number 1. Why did the peddler sign himself as on stale? Answer. Adla will mention had been rather nice to the peddler and had treated him with the honor that was due to a captain. The peddler, through his mistaken identity, got an opportunity to raise himself and get above the petty temptation of the world. So he signed himself as Captain on Starley. Question number 2. Why did the peddler think that the world was a rat trap? Answer. The peddler considered the whole world as a big rat trap. Its sole purpose being to set baits for the people. The joys and riches of this world are nothing but tempting baits, and anyone who is tempted by them was captured by the rat trap, which completely closed in on him. Question number 3. Why was Adla happy to see the gift left by the peddler? Answer. Adla was happy to see the gift left by the peddler as he had respected her faith in him. Adla had retained him in her house even after knowing his real identity, and he in turn had shown her that the guest she had honored was as honorable as the captain. The, the latent goodness of his heart had been awakened, and he had been able to overcome the bait of rat trap. Question number 4. Which act of the Copter surprised the peddler? Why? Answer. The peddler was always shunned away wherever he went. No one treated him with kindness, and so he had lost all hope of being shown any kind of warmth. But when he approached the Cropter's roadside cottage, he was surprised by the latter's warm welcome and generous hospitality. Question number 5. How was the peddler treated at the Cropter's cottage? Answer. At the Cropter's cottage, the peddler was welcomed warmly and received generous hospitality. The Cropter was an old man and lonely man, and the prospect of getting the peddler's company overjoyed him. So he poured all his warmth and friendly courtesy on the peddler. Question number 6. Why was the Cropter so talkative and friendly with the peddler? Answer. The Cropter was lonely. He lived alone in his cottage without a wife, a child, or any companion. Since he suffered from acute loneliness, he was extremely happy when he got the peddler's company. That is why he was so talkative and friendly with the peddler. Question number 7. Why was the peddler surprised when he knocked on the door of the cottage? Answer. At the Cropter's cottage, the peddler was welcomed warmly and received generous hospitality. The Cropter was an old and lonely man, and the prospect of getting the peddler's company overjoyed him. So he poured all his warmth and friendly courtesy on the peddler. Question number 8. What made the peddler finally change his ways? Answer. The peddler was the peddler was touched by Adla's kind treatment. She treated him like a captain in spite of knowing his real identity. This awakened the latent goodness of his heart because he wanted to show Adla he was worthy of the honor she had given him. So he finally changed his ways. Now, next question. Why did Peddler keep to the woods after leaving the Cropter's cottage? How did he feel? Answer. The peddler discards the public highway and keeps to the woods after leaving the Cropter's cottage because he wants to avoid being caught with the 30 kroners that he had stolen from the Cropter's house. He walks through mazes of forest paths but lands nowhere. When he realizes he has been trapped, he feels extremely tired and sinks to the ground in despair. Next question. Did the stranger did the stranger agree to go to the ironmaster's house? Why or why not? Answer. Initially the initially the stranger declined the ironmaster's invitation. He had stolen 30 kroners on him and thought it was like going into the lion's den. But then he accepted the ironmaster's invitation because at last sympathy and compassion allayed his fear, and her friendly manner made him to have confidence in her. Question number 11. Why did the peddler decline the invitation of the ironmaster? Answer. The peddler declined the ironmaster's invitation because he had the stolen 30 kroners on him. He feared that he would be caught there for stealing the cropter's money. For the peddler going to the manor house of the ironmasters would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. Question number 12. Why was the Cropter so friendly and talkative with the peddler? Answer. The Cropter was lonely. He lived alone in his cottage without a wife, a child, or any companion. Since he suffered from acute loneliness, he was extremely happy when he got the peddler's company. That is why he was so talkative and friendly with the peddler. Question number 13. Who was the owner of Ramsjo Iron Mills? Why did he visit the mills at night? Answer. The iron master was the owner of the Ramsjo Iron Mills. He was very particular about the quality of his products, so he made nightly rounds of inspection to his mill to inspect the quality control. Next question. How did the ironmaster react on seeing the stranger lying close to the furnace? Answer. When the ironmaster saw the stranger lying close to the furnace, he walked up to him and looked him over carefully. Mistaking him for an old acquaintance, a comrade from his regiment, he got very excited and invited him to come to his cottage. Next question. Why did the stranger tell the ironmaster that he was not Niels Olof? Answer. When the ironmaster mistakes the stranger for Captain Niels Olof, an old regimental comrade, the stranger decides not to correct him as hopes to get a couple of kroners from the ironmasters. so he does not want to undeceive him all at once. Question number 16. Why was the Copter happy when the peddler knocked on his door? The Copter was very lonely. He lived alone in his cottage without a wife or child or any companion. Since he was suffering from acute loneliness, he felt very happy when the peddler knocked on his door. He treated the peddler in the most kind and hospitable manner. Next question. How was the Copter generous with his confidences when he spoke to the peddler? Answer. The Copter was generous not just with his porridge and tobacco, but also with his confidences with the peddler. He informed the peddler that he had been a Copter, but now his cow supported him. She would give milk for the creamery every day, and last month he had even received 30 kroners as payment. Now, next question. What did the peddler do to keep his body and soul together? Answer. The peddler made the and sold rat traps, but his business was not really profitable, so he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep his body and soul together. Why did the peddler derive pleasure from his idea of the world as a rat trap? Answer. The world had never been kind to the peddler, so it gave him unwanted joy to think ill of it by considering it as a rat trap. It, it became his cherished pastime to think of people he knew who had let themselves be caught in the dangerous snare, and of others who were still circling around the bait in the rat trap. Why did Adla plead with her father not to send the vagabond away? Answer. Adla pleaded with her father not to send the vagabond away as it was Christmas Eve and she wanted to keep the spirit of Christmas alive. She wanted to provide the vagabond with a day of comfort and solace. She justified that they had invited him against his will, and since he was lonely, she wanted to do something special for him on Christmas Eve. Question number 21. In what sense was the world a big rat trap according to the paddler? Answer. According to the paddler, the whole world with its lands, seas, cities, and villages was nothing but a big rat trap. It only existed to set baits for people. If offered riches and joy, shelter, food, and clothing, as the rat trap offered cheese and pork, and as soon as anyone let himself be tempted to touch the bait, it closed on him, and then everything came to an end. Next question. Why did the peddler knock on the cottage by the roadside? How was he treated by the owner of the cottage? Answer. The peddler knocked on the cottage by the roadside to ask shelter for the night. The owner, who was an old man without a wife or child, greeted him warmly, served him supper, and played cards with him as he was happy to get someone to talk to his loneliness. Question number 23. What conclusion did the Iron Master reach when he heard that the Copter had been robbed by the peddler? Answer. When the Iron Master heard that the Copter had been robbed by a man who went around selling rat traps, he sarcastically remarked to his daughter that she had let a fine man into the house and was wondering as to how many silver spoons were left in their cupboard, by that time. Next question. What were the contents of the package left by the peddler as a Christmas gift for Adla? Will mention. Answer. The package that the peddler left as a Christmas gift for Adla will mention contained a small red trap which had a letter he had written in large jagged characters, and in it also lay three wrinkled 10 kroner notes. Question number 25. How was the peddler received by the Copter? Answer. The Copter was a lonely person who received the peddler warmly, gave him supper and tobacco to fill his pipe, and played a game of cards with him. He was very friendly with the peddler. He shared the details of his life with him and showed him the 30 kroners notes he had received as payment. Now, next question. What brought about a change in the life of the peddler? Answer. Adla's warmth, sympathy, and compassion brought about a change in the life of the peddler. He, touched by the kind treatment gives him, despite knowing his real identity, the latent goodness of his heart is awakened, and he actually behaves like a true captain. Next question. At the Cropter's home, why did the peddler feel very happy? The answer. The peddler was received very warmly and received generous hospitality at the Cropter's home. The Cropter, an old and lonely man, served him porridge, treated him kindly, and the two smoked and played cards. This made the peddler feel very happy. Question number 28. Why was the peddler amused at the idea of the world being a rat trap? Answer. The world had never been very kind to the peddler, so it gave him unwanted joy to think of the world with its lands and seas, cities and villages as nothing but a big rat trap that sets baits for the people in the form of riches, joys, and other necessities. And as soon as one got tempted, it closed in for him. Now, question number 29. What hospitality did the peddler receive from the crofter? Answer. Instead of the sour faces which normally met the peddler, the crofter, who was an old and lonely man, received the peddler most warmly and offered him generous hospitality. He gave him porridge for supper, and the two smoked tobacco and played cards. The crofter also shared his confidences with the peddler. Question number 30. What do we learn about the crofter's nature from the story Rattrap? Answer. The crofter was an old man who was very lonely as he had no family. He was very happy when the peddler knocked on his door, as he got someone to talk to in his loneliness. He treated the peddler most courteously and offered him food and tobacco. The crofter was as generous with his confidences as he was with his hospitality. Now, question number 31. Why did the crofter show the 30 kroner to the peddler? Answer. The crofter was too happy to get someone to talk to in his loneliness, so he was generous with his confidences with the peddler. The stranger must have seemed doubtful, for the crofter took down a leather pouch hanging on a nail near the window and showed the 30 kroner notes to the peddler. Why did the ironmaster speak kindly to the peddler and invite him home? Answer. The ironmaster mistook the peddler to be an old acquaintance, Niels Olof, his old regimental comrade. So he spoke kindly to the peddler and invited him to his house. He and his daughter Adela did not have any company for Christmas, so he wanted the peddler to join them for Christmas dinner. Question number 33. Why did Adla invite the peddler? Answer. Adla invited the peddler because she wanted to celebrate Christmas in the true spirit of the festival by having a guest over for Christmas supper. Moreover, she wanted to give the peddler a day of peace. Question number 34. Describe the Cropter's meeting with the Rattrap peddler. Answer. The Cropter gave the Rattrap peddler shelter for a night. He was very hospitable with the peddler. He gave the peddler supper, tobacco to smoke, uh, played cards with him, and even shared confidences with him. Now, next, the red trap, important questions, long answer type questions, 5 to 6 marks. Now, question number 1. Describe how the story The Red Trap shows that basic human goodness can be brought out by understanding and love. Answer. The theme of the story The Red Trap is that most human beings are prone to fall into the trap of material gains. However, love and understanding can transform a person and bring out his essential human goodness. The peddler has had been treated very cruelly by the world. So even though the old Copter was kind and hospitable to him, he betrayed his trust and stole 30 kroners from him. He was not impressed by the Ironmaster's invitation also, but Adla Wilmanson's compassion and understanding brought about a transformation in his nature. Her human qualities helped in raising him to be a gentleman. He was easily able to overcome petty temptation. So the peddler who always considered the whole world to be a rat trap finally felt released from this rat trap due to the sympathetic, kind, loving, and generous treatment of Adla Wilmanson that was able to bring out his basic human goodness. Question number 36. Give example from the story The Rat Trap to show how the Iron Master is different from his daughter. Answer. The character of the Adolf Wilmanson and that of the Iron Master are in stark contrast to each other. Despite being young, the daughter displayed a better sense of maturity than her father, who acts impulsively and behaves casually. He jumps to conclusions without thinking. First, he mistakes the peddler to be an old regimental comrade, and without confirming his identity, he instantly invites him to the manor house, and again, on realizing his mistakes, he refers the matter to the sheriff thoughtlessly. Adla, on the other hand, displays a keen sense of observation. She rightly judges that her guest is a tramp and has a sympathetic attitude towards him. She persuades her father to allow the guest to stay, leads him courteously to the dining table, and makes him eat despite her father's protest. It is because of her compassion and generosity that the peddler undergoes a change of heart and redeems himself from dishonesty. He leaves behind 30 kroners to be given back to the old crofter and a Christmas present on for Adla. Question number 37. The story The Rattrap focuses on human loneliness and the need to bond with others. Explain. Answer. The main focus of the story The Rat Trap is on human loneliness. All the characters, whether it is the peddler, the crofter, the ironmaster, or his daughter, suffer from loneliness. The peddler is a lonely man who has always been shunned by society's cold and unkind words. When he knocks at the door of the old crofter's cottage, he does not expect hospitality, but the crofter welcomes him as he is too happy to get someone to talk to after being alone for so long. By serving the peddler, the Copter is in fact serving himself. He serves the peddler with supper, gives him tobacco, and plays Majolis with him. He is a very good host. The ironmaster and his daughter too miss company, and this makes them all the more lonely on the occasion of Christmas. So the ironmaster, who mistakes the peddler for his old regimental comrade, invites him to his manor house for Christmas. The ironmaster daughter Adla extends this invitation again and tells the peddler he can leave any time after Christmas. Thus, the need to bond is the main focus of the story, The Red Trap. Now, next question. Describe how the story, The Red Trap, shows that human basic goodness can be brought out by understanding and love. Answer. The theme of the story, The Red Trap, is that most human beings are prone to fall into the trap of material gains. However, love and understanding can transform a person and bring out his essential human goodness. The peddler had been treated very cruelly by the world, so even though the old Cropter was kind and hospitable to him, he betrayed his trust and stole 30 kroners from him. He was not impressed by the ironmaster's invitation also. But Adla Wilmanson's compassion and understanding brought about a transformation in his nature. Her human qualities helped in raising him to be a gentleman. He was easily able to overcome petty temptation. The peddler, who always considered the whole world to be a rat trap, finally felt released from the rat trap because to the sympathetic, kind, and loving and generous treatment of Adla Wilmansons that was able to bring out his basic human goodness. Now, next question. How are the attitudes of Ironmaster and his daughter different? Support your answer from the text. Answer. The character of Adla Wilmanson and that of the Iron Master are in stark contrast to each other. Despite being young, the daughter displays a better sense of maturity than her father, who acts impulsively and behaves casually. He jumps to the conclusion without thinking. First, he mistakes the peddler to be an old regimental comrade, and without confirming his identity, he instantly invites him to the manor house, and again, on realizing his mistakes, he referred the matter to the sheriff thoughtlessly. Adela, on the other hand, displays a kind sense of observation. She rightly judges that her guest is a tramp and has a sympathetic attitude towards him. She persuades her father to allow the guest to stay, leads him courteously to the dining table, and makes him eat despite her father's protest. It is because of her uh, compassion and generosity that the peddler undergoes a change of heart and redeems himself from dishonesty. He leaves behind 30 kroners to be given back to the old Cropter and a Christmas present for Adla. Okay, student, now I conclude this video and thank you very much for watching and listening.